Good morning, everyone. I'm Aaron Situmorang, the Demonstrate Lead at GBV Prevention Platform. Today, we'll talk about Demonstrate Grants Call for Proposal under the Southeast Asia GBV Prevention Platform. In more detail, we'll talk about the first Southeast Asia GBV Prevention Platform, the call for proposal, the objective, streams, and evaluation criteria, explain briefly about the co-creation and capacity support, safeguarding standards, and walk you through the eligibility and application requirements, and review the selection process and timeline. We'll end with Q&A and practical submission tips. The Southeast Asia Gender-Based Violence Prevention Platform, or the platform, was established out of a shared commitment to end GBV against women and girls and all their diversity across Southeast Asia. The platform is about supporting locally led efforts, whether through advocacy, policy, or programming. We work closely with civil society organizations, governments, and UN partners like UN Women and UNFPA. The platform serves as regional resources to capture, elevate, disseminate evidence on what works to prevent violence and accelerate action across the region. Our guiding principles include locally driven, evidence-based, intersectional, survivor-centered, and trauma-informed, adaptive, collaborative, and catalyzing, do no harm, accessible, and innovative. The platform operates through three key pillars: facilitate, advocate, and demonstrate. Facilitate supports practitioners and policymakers in designing and monitoring GBV prevention programs. Advocate is about building regional and multi-stakeholder collaboration. And demonstrate, where today's grants comes in, is about helping and generate and share evidence of what works, which I will provide in more detail later in the slides. Our first round of grants is now open from 1st of November to 7th of December. We offer two types of grants, demonstrate ranging from 20,000 to 40,000 Australian dollars, and advocate from 5,000 to 30,000 Australian dollars. Eligible applicants include registered CSOs, WROs, OPDs, LGBTQIA+ organization, and other constituency-led groups working in GBV prevention across 11 ASEAN countries. You can find all the details on our website through prevention-platform.org/grants. The demonstrate pillar works towards making evidence of what works more accessible and applied by practitioners and policymakers through these three strategies. The first one is establishing and running an online knowledge hub. Second is capturing and elevating practice-based knowledge from the region, and generating and demonstrating practice-based knowledge through grants. The demonstrate pillar and grants aim to respond to the fact that there are limited documented evidence and practice-based knowledge on effective GBV prevention strategies in Southeast Asia. Can you go next, please? Yes. And also, we find that there's gaps in understanding different forms of GBV, its root cause, and its impact. There is also a lack of data on experiences and needs of marginalized groups. And lastly, insufficient information on prevention efforts led by WROs and CSOs. The demonstrate grants have three objectives. First is generate and document strong evidence and practice-based knowledge from WROs, CSOs, on effective GBV prevention strategies in Southeast Asia. Second is to improve understanding of GBV against structurally marginalized groups and explore innovative constituency-led approaches to preventing violence, and strengthen capacity and support exchange between WROs, CSOs, and researchers on GBV prevention. For demonstrate grants, there are two streams. So this is a brief summary of the two streams. I will talk in more detail later. So basically, stream one is focusing on documenting existing practice-based knowledge and prevention work, while stream two is about focusing on GBV research or studies against marginalized groups. In more detail, Stream 1 focus on strengthening existing GBV prevention efforts and shares innovative practices across Southeast Asia. The stream is open for WROs, CSOs, and Southeast Asia working to prevent GBV. Priority will be given for those groups working with marginalized communities, including women with disabilities, LGBTQIA+ people. Organization can form partnership with local or regional researchers, with CSOs and WROs leading the application. These grants support projects that study prevention initiative that is either currently or in progress or was completed within the past 2 years. It's promising and innovative, use promising or new practices that have not yet been fully documented, evaluated, or widely shared. It takes place in Southeast Asia and one of the eligible Southeast Asian countries. It focuses on stopping violence before it happens. The initiative should be about primary prevention of GBV, which means working to prevent violence before it starts. It has a theory of change. The initiative should describe what change your initiative is trying to make or has already made. And lastly, shows signs of positive impact, like should be supported with have data and suggested that it has positive impact for participants or communities. It could include, like, for example, changes in knowledge, attitudes about GBV, changes in behavior, or low rates of GBV. Since Stream 1 focuses on capturing practice-based knowledge, so allow me to share briefly how we see practice-based knowledge and why it matters. Can you go to the next slide, please? Yes, thank you. PBK is the cumulative wisdom of practitioners gained through real program experience, learning from field staff, community workers, and change agents during dialogues, training, and day-to-day challenges. Why we see PBK as something important? Because it reflects. Can you go to the previous slide? Yes. It reflects real community experience and explains how and why change happened. It provides critical contextual insights such as cultural meanings and pattern of resistance. It centers the voice of survivors and marginalized groups who may not be captured in formal research. And also it enables rapid adaptation and learning during projects. Unfortunately, PBK is often undervalued and undocumented, which means it risks being excluded from planning and funding decision. Moving on to Stream 2. This stream will spot research that explores new ideas and fill gaps in knowledge about GBV affecting structurally marginalized groups in Southeast Asia. These groups include, for example, women with disabilities and LGBTQIA+ people. The funding will support constituency-led CSOs to study the forms and causes of GBV affecting these groups, identify promising and contextually relevant ways to prevent GBV, and build foundational knowledge that can help shape future programming. The grant is for constituency-led organization. These are organizations that are led by and work for structurally marginalized women, girls, and gender diverse people in Southeast Asia. This includes, but not limited to, like organizations of people with disability, LGBTQIA+ organization, indigenous rights groups organizations, youth-led organizations. Same as Stream 1, constituency-led organization can form partnership with local or regionally based researcher. This grant supports projects that focus on forms of GBV affecting women with disabilities, LGBTQIA plus people, or other structurally marginalized groups where evidence is still limited. Identify and consolidate lessons learned and good practices from constituency organizations working to prevent this violence. Projects can use different exploratory research methods, including mixed methods, should focus on action-oriented questions that help improve GBV prevention efforts. This can include like formative or exploratory research, community-led mapping of factors that increase the risk of GBV, action-oriented research, and also documentation and assessment of existing local, national, or regional efforts to prevent GBV. Outputs could include evidence report, case studies, tool, models, guidelines, and recommendation for future research and programming. Applications are assessed against several criteria: contribution to objectives, problem analysis and rationale, methodological rigor, potential for influence and uptake, GBV research ethics and self-safeguarding, inclusion and equity, team management, and partnership and efficiency. For more detail of these criteria, please refer to the tour in our website. This grant process will also include a co-creation phase. So before starting with the implementation, successful applicants will enter a collaborative co-creation process to refine design, align on objectives and context, and ensure approaches reflect local realities and practitioner expertise while building on existing evidence. For demonstrate grants, co-creation includes review of ethical considerations and practical plans for participant safety, do no harm and survivor-centered methods, followed by ongoing tailored technical assistance. The co-creation will also be an opportunity to identify technical assistance needed for grantees in implementing the project later on. Moving on to safeguarding. The platform is deeply committed to ensuring that all our programs and partners, including our grantees, uphold the principle of do no harm. This entails carefully assessing risks and implementing safeguards to ensure our work does not inadvertently cause harms to others. When we talk about safeguarding, we're referring to the systems and practices that prevent and respond to all forms of violence, exploitation, abuse, and harassment, whether sexual or non-sexual, physical, emotional, or even economic. Safeguarding is not just about compliance, it's about creating safe, respectful, and inclusive environment for everyone we work with and serve. For all grantees, safeguarding will be a core requirement. Successful applicants will need to demonstrate, adopt, or establish safeguarding policies and practices that meet the platform standard. You may also learn more about our safeguarding policy and commitment through the platform's website, prevention-platform.org/safeguarding-policy. We also ask grantees to identify personnel or staff within the organization who will lead the implementation and safeguarding actions. So as you plan your proposal, we encourage you to think ahead and allocate time and/or budget to support safeguarding activities, whether that's through training, policy development, or community consultations. But don't worry, we recognize that organizations are at different stages in their safeguarding journey, and that's completely fine. We are here to support you. The platform will provide technical assistance at no additional cost to help you strengthen your safeguarding system. And during partnership capacity assessment, we'll take time to discuss your project-specific safeguarding needs in more detail and help you determine what kind of support or budget adjustments might be useful. Safeguarding is everyone's responsibility, and we'll work with you to make it achievable. And now over to Toby.
Thank you so much, Aaron. Thank you for covering on the technical side of the demonstrate grants. And then I would like to cover more on the eligibility and application requirements in order for everyone to understand what are we requiring as the organization. So first, in terms of who is eligible, we are looking for an organizations that are locally or regionally led and working on the gender-based violence prevention across Southeast Asia. That includes civil society organizations, CSO, women's rights organizations, WRO, organization for persons with disability, or OPDs, LGBTQIA+ organizations, and other constituency-led groups that are actively engaged in GBV prevention. We especially encourage applications from organizations that represent or work with women and girls, LGBTQIA+ communities, person with disability, indigenous people, climate-focused groups, ethnic minority, migrants and displaced person, youth-led and youth-focused organizations. These are all the representation that we would like to highly encourage to apply. So if your organization fits into these categories, we would love to see your applications. Now, in terms of geographic eligibility, your organization must be based in one of 11 ASEAN countries. That's where the grants are focused. And we want to support work that ground in local and regional realities. So depending on the scope and the scales of the proposed project, you can choose the streams that best fit your needs, which Aaron already covered for demonstrate. We're providing 2 streams for this round. The more details, you can see that in the terms of reference, which we posted on our website. And finally, we have made the application process as accessible as possible. Though the application form is required to submit in English only, all other required supporting documents, for example, your registration document and other supporting documents, you can also submit it in local language. Just only provided a brief description in English for us to know what is the title of that document. So then we can know that the document is all about what. And then we will go more details about documents and format of the new slides. Oh, okay, here, the application requirements. For the application requirements, you can choose to apply either one of the approach. The first one is that if you are the organization with registration, you can apply as the principal organizations. Our required document will be much simpler. So you will require to submit us the registration document and the incorporation documents or constitutions. On the other way, if you would like to apply through the fiscal sponsor, you will need to submit a certain set of document, which is in addition to your organization documentations. So the fiscal sponsor, if you are choosing to apply through fiscal sponsor, the fiscal sponsor means a registered non-governmental organization, which is could be community-based organization or other organizations that is able to receive foreign funds and agree to disburse the funding to grantee organizations. The fiscal sponsor should be any registered non-profit organization within your professional network that you trust and reliable to collaborate with. In this case, we will do the due diligence with the fiscal sponsor. Move to next slide, please. And in the case of if you're using artificial intelligence or AI in your applications, there is a big remark on that. Please make sure that the content is truly reflects your organization's own work and experience. Kindly note that the application that rely too much on AI without real human touch or human inputs or understanding may score lower. If AI generated content is misleading or not accurate, it could lead to disqualification. Moving along to the annexes that included in the TOR. The TOR that you can see on the website is in PDF file. So if you can see that all the annexes, there is a lot of the headings as well that require you to fill up as the application. So in the case that you need the Word form of the document, you can email us, so then we can submit you or send you with the Word file. Firstly, Annex 1, the application checklist. To assist all interested applicants, we created a checklist to help you stay on track. Make sure you include all the required documents. Let's say that registration, incorporation document, application form, and other declaration on the Annex 3. If you're using fiscal sponsor, there are a few extra items, as I mentioned, must be included. If you don't, please tick not applicable. Moving to the Annex 2 application form. When submitting your application, please use the provide format and follow the guideline carefully. Application must be in English, as I mentioned earlier, using the Times New Roman, 11-point font, single space, and A4 paper size, as usual. If you're applying for both grant stream, please submit separate application through separate email. So it will be really helpful for us to identify your email by putting the email subject line application_demonstrate _ the stream number you choose. For example, stream 1 _ your organization name. So that would really help us to grouping your applications together. Moving to the next slide on the budget. On the budget part is a part of the Annex 2 as well. At this stage, we need just only the budget summary only. So all of the budget number supposed to submit in Australian dollar. And also the management and admin costs can go up to 30%. And if you include equipment or non-expendable item with value from 200 Australian dollar and higher, please explain shortly why you need it. If overhead cost is applicable, please also provide a brief rationale or description of how it is calculated, or it will be, and also this overhead cost will be part of the 30% management cost as well. Therefore, we are expecting around 70% would be purely for activity costs. At this stage, we only need summary budget, and only for the shortlist, successful applicants will be asked for the more details of the budget later in the pre-award process and co-creation. Moving along to the Annex 3, this is the declaration form. This form is really important to confirm that your organization agrees to the terms that the grants and the information you provide is accurate. It needs to be signed by the authorized representative of your organization. So who is the authorized representative? Is someone who has legal or official authorities to act on behalf of your organizations. Either it could be like the management level, or that could be from your chair or the board members. So that please make sure that this person is being authorized and signed it. Moving along to the next slide. If you have questions, we still have a period of questionings up until 19th of November. We will close the questioning period before midnight on the 19th at Bangkok and Jakarta time, GMT +7. You can send the questions to partnerships at prevention-platform.org. And we will collect all the questions that we receive, and we will consolidate all the answer and publish it on our website as soon as possible. And also you can see that the application submit due is on 7 December. Please make sure that you submit everything before the due date and time. For the email attachment, please make sure that it does not exceed 25 MB megabyte in attachment, or in case that your attachment is exceeding that limit, you can have the options of sending your attachment through separate email with the same subject line, or uploading your file and secure to the secure cloud storage service, for example, like Google Drive, Dropbox, or OneDrive, and allow us to access to your shared drive. That includes like all the file that necessary to be attached, and you have to be uploaded that before the due date and time. Please make sure that you respect all the timeline, because it is really crucial for us in terms of treating every applicant equally. And moving on to the last slide is about the selection process and timeline. This projecting the whole process of the application, selection, approval, and also the implementations. You can see that within today, it is the information session, which is on the 14th of November, covering the application, which is opening from 1st November up until 7 December. As I mentioned earlier, that the question submission ends on the 19th. And then after we close the application, we will enter into the evaluation of the applications. We will try to conduct our best to evaluate all the submitted application up until by the mid of January. So then we can have the notification of the shortlist by the mid of January. All of the applications will be notifying on the result, whether you're selected as shortlist or not, by email only. And we will not publicly announce the result of the application or evaluations on our website. Please note that all your application information will be taken discreetly, confidential. Our due diligence and partner capacity assessment will be conducted with our shortlist applicants only. So that will take around January to February next year. And then we will be going through the approval by DFAT in February and March. Some of the successful applicants will be going through the co-creation and partnership agreements that before the grant start on the April of 2026. So this is pretty much the whole process of the selection process and timeline. And I believe that some of you may have some questions in the chat box already. And so I would like to also, we're still good at timing, especially we spent around half an hour already. So possibly maybe we can open the floor. I mean, like pulling up some questions in the chat box, and then Aaron and I, or maybe some of our team members, can answering your questions verbally. So then please, can we just pulling some questions. So can I ask Aaron to be with me as well? All right.
Toby, so
yes.
maybe can I respond to one questions in the chat that
Yes, please,
related
Aaron.
to demonstrate the technical part? So there's
Yes.
questions from Rati Pertiwi. For Stream 1, how should we proceed if the initiative is only now being rolled out and there is no data yet on its impact? So Rati, thank you for the questions. So for this one, I think it will be helpful for us. Maybe you can share a bit more detail through email. So in the Tor, there's an email for questions as well. Like I think we need more information about the intervention or initiative that you're doing, like more detail about the design, the timeline, and also the expectation, so we can maybe decide later would it be like worth your time in applying if the initiative is only being rolled out, or maybe you can wait maybe for later opportunities. So if that's okay with you, maybe you can share more detail to us through our email. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. I have one question as well regarding to the budget about the overhead budget costs. Does it included in the 30% of the management cost? Yes. Because and also the personnel cost, which is if you can see that the personnel costs on your organization, that some of the management level might be percentually allocated to the project. That could be part of the management cost, but some is directly, like more like a officer kind of staff who attending the event or organizing the event or consultant that directly or 100% supporting that activity. That could be part of the activity cost as well. So in this case, I mean, like since we require just only the summary budget on this stage, please add some description in that as well. Because on the summary budget section, we doesn't count as the page limit for the application. So if you could provide some of the clarification into that, that would be really helpful at the application stage. Thank you. I'm reading the questions right now. So I might be answering the questions that related to the operations, and also we might have Aaron taking care of the questions on the technical side. Okay. There is one questions confirming that refugee women-led organization can apply for this grant by having registered not-for-profit organization as fiscal sponsored. Firstly, the one who can apply, whether you are the fiscal sponsored or the partner organizations, I mean, like if you decided to apply as the principal organization, you supposed to have a registered as the organization legally operating in that countries. So basically, yeah, that in the case that you're having trouble or difficulties or on the registration, we would like to recommend you to register to apply through the fiscal sponsor. Aaron, do you have any questions, interesting questions regarding to the technical side?
I think so far, Toby, the question is more on the operational and also like the budget as well. So maybe
Yeah.
yes, Chris.
Hi, Toby. Hi, Aaron. Can I jump in to assist?
Yes, Chris, please.
Yes, I'm looking. Hello, everyone. This is Chris. I am the Advocate Pillar Lead. I'm helping out with a question. So there's a question here for Aaron. Would sexual violence prevention program that is targeted at university students be applicable or be eligible for this grant?
I think that would depend again, maybe if there's more context and details about that. But at the moment, as I mentioned earlier, maybe you can refer again for stream one, especially. So we want to look at more on what is applied at the community level in terms of GBV prevention, what kind of interventions, especially for marginalized groups. And also for stream two is the intersectionality, especially with marginalized groups also. And we're open to kind of like intersectional issues around, for example, gender and climate, TFGBV, and those kind of issues. But in terms of university, I'm not saying that we're not open to that. Maybe if we are given like more context on what you want to look at around the issue would be helpful for us.
Thank you, Aaron. So for those who are interested in those topics, as Toby mentioned, you still have time to send in your questions until this November. So do send them and we'll try to get to you as soon as we can. I have questions for Toby here. There are a lot of questions about the registration, Toby. You've probably answered some of them already, but I know there are a lot of questions there, particularly for organizations from Myanmar. There are questions about would they be ineligible if the registration is complete, or if are they going to use fiscal sponsorship? So if you can tell us more, particularly as it relates to the context of Myanmar.
Yes, thank you, Chris. We truly understand the difficulties and the sensitive issues for Myanmar. So basically, we would recommend all of the interested applicant from Myanmar who doesn't have the registration document to apply through fiscal sponsored. The fiscal sponsor can be any registered organization that located in the neighboring countries, or someone that the organization within your network that you would like to work with. So basically, yeah, that could be the option for now.
Thank you, Toby. Again, questions on budgeting. Would overhead costs include personnel? Can they also do management costs within those budget? Please tell us more about that.
Yeah, for the personnel costs, as I mentioned earlier, that some of the personnel costs might fall under management costs because it's more like the allocation for the management level to oversee the projects. But some of the personnel costs might directly contribute to the activities implementation that could fall under the activities cost as well. So you might need to consider or scrutinize quite a little bit in terms of the purpose of that person or team member or staff or consultant that contributing to the activities. Whether it is like for the management or overseeing like the general support of the organizations, or it's provide directly service to delivering the activities. So if that person or personnel cost is direct to the activities implementation, that would fall under the activity cost.
Thank you, Toby.
Thank you, Chris.
Yes. Again, we're getting a lot of questions about the
Yes.
registration. They just want you to, I think, confirm again today, like if they use fiscal sponsor mechanism, would it be right to say the executing organization itself does not have to be registered? Meaning the one implementing the project has no registration in the country, but their fiscal sponsor has to be registered.
Yes, exactly, Chris. The fiscal sponsor need to be registered, and then the organization who is partnering with the fiscal sponsor doesn't need to be registered. This is the options that we providing for the local community-based organization or groups that's not registered or facing difficulties in acquiring the registration, because our grants is focusing on the locally led approach, which means that we would like all of the unrepresented organization or groups to be represented and equally treated into this our grants application round.
A question related but also different. So you have a fiscal sponsor and then you are an organization who wants to apply, but also your fiscal sponsor wants to apply separately. Is that possible? Would that work? Because there's a question on, can a single organization also make multiple submissions?
Well, actually, it's quite clear in the TOR that one organization can apply through different stream as well. But it's supposed to be really clear if you, like as a fiscal sponsor, applying through one stream. I wouldn't recommend that you apply as the like as the single organizations to apply within the same stream, So basically you're not allowed to compete with yourself. So basically, if you're applying as a fiscal sponsor, that means that you're intentionally to work with your partner organizations in terms of developing this proposal. But if you as the fiscal sponsor, as a fiscal sponsor applying for stream 1, and then you would like to apply for another streams or another grants window under your own as principal organizations, as organizations yourself, is it acceptable? And we welcome you to apply through that as well.
Thank you, Toby. I also, I think, would like to drop the question to Aaron, because you have different streams, Aaron. Can they also apply like a project for each stream, one organization?
Yes, we are open to that.
Thank you. One question for Toby. When it comes to financial management, if they are successfully get the grant, do you have specific guidelines of how to financially manage, or can they use their own organizational rules or protocols?
Yes, for the financial management, we would let the financial management system as protocols or the policies of the organizations, but we will provide the guidelines of the budget preparation, budget development, and also that would lead to our supports as well in terms of financial management. But yes, Chris, the organization has to be like using their own system.
Thank you. There's actually one question earlier. I'm so sorry I delayed in asking this, but there is a question. Are social enterprises eligible for the application?
So for social enterprises, I believe that by the law of different countries that different the type of organizations registration might be differently. But social enterprise is for some countries it is considering as non-profit organizations. So basically, if is the purpose of the organization is built or construct or constitute based on the purpose of the benefit of social. So basically, you are a part of the non-profit organization which fall under our eligibility as well.
Thank you. I have 4 next questions. Rapid fire to Aaron on this one. Firstly, you mentioned GBV, the platform is working on and supporting the work on primary prevention and GBV. Can you also fund projects that also includes response and not only prevention?
Thanks, Chris. So I think for stream 1, we would want the focus to be on primary prevention. But for stream 2, I think we would be open for response as long as it includes kind of like the impact of GBV on marginalized groups as well. So not just like response per se, but also again linking it with the objective of stream 2.
Thank you. So the next question would be, can they apply for funding of a program that is already existing or running?
Sorry, can you repeat that, Chris?
Can they apply for a program or a project that is already running or currently existing? Or also, if the program has already ended before it was funded by another donor, can they continue that program using the funds?
Yes, I
Under
think
demonstrate
we're
grants.
open to that kind of arrangement. So for specifically for the last one, ideally the applicants would inform us like what kind of support was provided by the previous donors and what they expect, kind of like the scale or follow-up activities that they are planning when they are supported by the GBV prevention platform.
Thank you. There's actually, before I go to the next question, there is another follow-up question because the question, for the last three questions, we mentioned programming. Is the demonstrate grants for funding programs or research or study work?
So I think for stream 1, we're focusing on documenting existing practice-based knowledge related to GBV prevention. So it's kind of like, I would not use the terms research, so it doesn't like burden people, but basically capturing all these practices. And also for stream 2, it's not also a program, it's more of understanding the impact of GBV on marginalized groups. So maybe not a program, more of kind of like a project that runs 3 to 12 months.
Okay, if there is more needed clarification on that, drop the question on our chat and we'll try to respond or get back to you and add this information in the website after this
So Chris,
session.
can I
Yes.
respond to another question?
Yes, go ahead,
There's
Aaron.
Maria
Yes.
on. So I think the question is, can the project also support for data collection of women with disabilities and writing books related to GBV faced by women with disabilities? So I think this would be relevant to stream 2, if I'm not mistaken. But in terms of the deliverables, we're open to any suggestions by the applicants, whether it would be like a short brief or longer. So yes, we encourage you to apply, especially I think this is relevant for stream 2.
All right, thank you. There is a question, I request if you can, again, in detail, provide, there is a question here. What is the expected output of the project or initiative? Let me use the project or initiative so we do not conflate with program. What is the expected output of the project on the grants?
I think for both streams, we're open to several types of outputs. Either it's like a documentation, like a more creative one with more visuals, even like audiovisual outputs as well. We're open to that. And I think that's something the applicants can propose and we can discuss further if the applicants is selected in the co-creation process later on.
Thank you. A question for Toby, I believe. They want to know how many grants would be awarded. Is it one for stream 1 and one for stream 2?
Well, actually, under this round of the grants application, we announced together for demonstrate grants and advocate grants. So basically, in the TOI is stating that we're planning to provide at least 6 grants to 6 organizations all combined together between demonstrate and advocate grants. So basically for this morning, that will be for demonstrate grants. We expecting it also depends on the number of or qualified applicants as well, the applications and the quality of the proposals. But yeah, as we said right now, is at least 6. Yes.
All right, thank you so much. I don't see any more questions like specific on the chat. So thank you for letting me jump in for the question and answer. I hand it over back to you, Toby.
Thank you so much, Chris. It's really helpful because sometimes I facing difficulties to read all through the questions, because kind of like thank you for all the questions and inquiries that coming in as well. And sometimes I cannot catch all of that. And thank you for moderating this, Chris. I believe that some of the questions our teams are already replied into the chat already, and some we reply through our verbal conversation here. If some of you having a specific questions that regarding to your specific context or conditions, or that you would like to ask deeply into your ideas on and sharing some of your difficulties in applying through our grants, please feel free to email us at partnerships@prevention-platform.org. So then we can consolidate all your questions, and then we will post that on our website anonymously. Definitely, we will treat it confidentially in terms of protecting, and also do no harm is our core principle to this whole process as well. Also, if do we have any additional questions coming in as well? Aaron, do you see anything interesting that we can answer during this session?
No, not at the moment, Toby, but I look forward for any follow-up questions sent through email, and I happily respond to that.
Thank you so much. And just for the notes, we still have another session in the afternoon for advocate grants as well, which some of you may interested in like applying or learning more about our advocates' works and grants. So please join us as well at 1:30 p.m. in the afternoon, and hopefully, this session will provide you a sufficient information for starting to develop your proposal. And also, we're looking very much forwarding to receiving your leaderships and initiatives in the grants and application and initiative on the GBV prevention in the region. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And thank you so much, Aaron. Thank you so much, Chris, for helping out to facilitate the session with us, and hoping we will working with you in the regions and making the GBV preventions is more effective and more collaborative in the Southeast Asia region. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a nice day.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Toby.
Thank you so much.